All right, so let's see if we can finish it off with this video. And I know I've been saying it with the past couple of videos, same thing over and over again. But here we have on slide 1276, presynaptic neuron. And on the book, if you go to page 452, you'll be able to see on the left, you have a neuron, you have your soma. All the way to the left, you have your axon, you have your presynaptic neuron, your synapse, which is where they meet. The direction of the signal transmission is going to the right. Then you have this other neuron on the right-hand side. That is your postsynaptic neuron. So your presynaptic neuron is neuron A, or number one. Then you have the synapse. They meet. And that target cell, in this case another neuron, that's your postsynaptic neuron. Your synapse, as you see right there, is a little triangle. That's that point of, at that meetup point. And if you can do a slide on that, a flashcard, it may synapse with a dendrite, a soma, or an axon of a postsynaptic neuron to form an axodendritic, an axosomatic, or an axoaxonic synapse. So where the presynaptic neuron meets the postsynaptic neuron is what's going to determine the name of that synapse. As you can see here on this flashcard, your synaptic knob is of the presynaptic neuron contains synaptic vesicles containing the neurotransmitters. A neurotransmitter you see is that chemical like acetylcholine that pretty much triggers the target cell. What's stored within synapses? There's a fun fact: all memories are stored within synapses, not within neurons. If the professor asks, "Are your memories contained within neurons?" It's false. It's within a synapse of a neuron. Your neurotransmitters, you have them on page 454. Neurotransmitters related messengers. So number one, acetylcholine, group of its own. Number two, amino acids. Then you have monoamines and neuropeptides. We know that neuropeptides are it's just a chain of amino acids. Your monoamines are just a modified amino acid, and you know what amino acids are. 20 of them, 8 of them are essential. So I'm going to put here in parentheses, modified AA. And here on neuropeptides, I'm going to put string or sequence of amino acid. That's that slide, really nice. We jump from slide 1288 all the way to slide 12-110. But before we jump that far, we do need to know that a given neurotransmitter does not have the same effect everywhere in the body. All right, so we're going to put here synaptic transmission. A given neurotransmitter sorry that it's become slow again. So a given neurotransmitter doesn't have the same effect everywhere in the body. A good example on slide 1285 is that serotonin does not have the same effect everywhere in the body because there are 14 different receptor types just for serotonin. So depending on where that hormone is, something different is going to happen in your body, which is good to know. So now we're going to jump all the way, and we're almost done, to 12-110. Give me 1 second. A neurotransmitter does not have same effect in every part of body due to the different receptor types, like serotonin with 14 types of receptors. So that's that. Memory and synaptic plasticity. So synaptic plasticity is the ability of synapses to change. That's it. ability of synapses to change. And a memory trace or an engram is the physical basis of a memory. So memory trace or engram is that is the physical basis of a memory. And it's slow again. Three kinds of memories. Immediate, short, and long-term memory. Immediate memory is the ability to hold something in your thoughts for just a few seconds. Short-term memory, or STM, lasts for a few seconds to several hours. So about maybe up to like 6 hours, which is why he wants us rereading things over and over again right after class. Long-term memory, we all know what that is. It could be declarative or procedural. Declarative is retention of events that you can put into words, so theory. Procedural is retention of motor skills. So like riding a bike. And I have a good example for that. Let me just put this physical basis of memory. That's the memory trace or the engram. A good example of long-term memory that's declarative or procedural. Declarative, it's going to learning a music lesson, learning how to play guitar, and learning that the strings are, elephants. These are mnemonic. Elephants and donkeys grow big ears. EADGBE. Those are the strings for the guitar. And you know that theory. You know the notes on a certain song. You memorize the notes of a certain song. That's declarative memory, long-term memory. You'll never forget that unless you don't practice it ever again. But procedural is knowing the muscle memory, right? So muscle memory, there's such thing as muscle memory, is practice. So knowing or remembering the song just by listening to it without having to recall the actual notes, that is, like riding a bike or remembering how to scramble eggs or something without actually knowing the actual recipe line by line, or baking a cake without knowing the recipe line by line, but doing it so many times that you already know how to do it, or driving a car. That's all procedural, long-term memory. What else? Oh, Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease. Last two slides. Alzheimer's and Parkinson. Just committed to memory. Show deficiencies of acetylcholine and nerve growth factor. So when you have a deficiency in NGF, the nerve growth factor, which is what tells a neuron pretty much not to die, apoptosis, it inhibits apoptosis, which is a programmed cell death. That's your NGF. If you have a deficiency in that NGF, then the neurons start dying. Parkinson's disease, connect that with the neurotransmitter dopamine. People with a dopamine deficiency, and the tremors are actually called intention tremors. So your hand could be great until you try to pick this marker up. You go for it, and immediately you start shaking. That's called an intention tremor. He gave the example of approaching the whiteboard. He had all of his markers laid out on the actual sill. When he was normal. When he went for the markers, he started shaking and dropped all of the markers on the floor. That's an intention tremor. You're intending to grab something, and then your fine motor skills actually contradict you. So that's that. My computer's now good, so I'm going to put here 3 kinds of memory. I'm going to put immediate, and it's slow again. Okay, screw this computer. So you already know, for these flashcards, you have your memory, right? Immediate, short-term, long-term, and time's up. Short-term, a few seconds to a couple hours. Long-term, a couple years. 2 types of long-term, declarative and procedural. That's slide 12-113. We didn't stick too long on 114, but just read it. Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease are the last 2 slides. And that's pretty much it. Now we're going to go to chapter 13 for the spinal cord, spinal nerves, and somatic reflexes. I would say read it, and see you guys tomorrow. And now is the awkward pause while I look for the stop button. Okay, here it is.